On the left, we have the best players from the 2000s. On the right, we have the best players from the 1990s. I did this for every single decade until the 1950s and put them all into League 2. They have 5 years to get as many trophies as possible, and whoever gets the most trophies wins. Grimsby represent the 1950s, but they only have one icon. Can you guess who it is? Barrow represents the 1960s, and they have a pretty decent team, I suppose. Bobby Moore at the back, Yashin, Nets, but that's it. Only 7 icons. Not a massive amount. And they still have some bronzes in there too. Can Yashin clutch up like he normally does? Crew Alexandra represents the 70s, and they have 4 icons. Somehow less than the 60s. That's their entire team. They're going to do pretty badly. Or maybe they just go and kill everyone. We're getting stronger now, though. We're going into the 1980s, and we finally have a full team of icons. It's Rochdale, Marco van Basten, Johan Cruyff. I mean, you can see the whole team. You don't need me to call it out to you. It's insane. All these icons on the bench, they're all strikers because we have no other icons. I'm not going to put them at fullback because that would be terrible, but I mean, this team is still incredible. But now we're on to the 90s, one of the strongest teams in this entire simulation. Ronaldo, Henry, Ronaldinho, Zidane. Either this team or the next team is the strongest. We have icons in the reserves and then more icons in the reserves. It's ridiculous. This team actually got so full that I had to put some people who would have made this team onto one of the other decades because they didn't fit onto this club. They had too many players. Next up is the 1990s, and their team is really, really strong. They have Leighton Orient representing them. This team's insane. We have icons on the reserves in this one and a full bench and a team of monsters. Like, this team is really, really good. If they even lose a game, I'll be very surprised. But here we have what might be the strongest team in this whole simulation. It's the 2000s. It's Stevenage, Ronaldo, Henry, Ronaldinho, Zidane. Cannavaro playing fullback because he doesn't fit. A bunch of people in the reserves. So much depth, so much talent. This is more or less a full icon team, about as strong as it gets. I mean, they're missing a couple of people, obviously, but this team is insane. They could win the Champions League. But winning the Champions League might not be the best strategy because a Champions League trophy counts just as much as a Conference League trophy. So maybe you have to get to the Conference League and win. But here we have the 2010s. Robin van Persie, Didier Drogba, Lampard, Essie and Xavi. I mean, you can see the team. It's insane. Some of these people are actually 2000s players, but the 2000s team had so many people that it filled up the club. Like Larson should be 2000s, but he didn't fit on the 2000s team, so he's here. And here we are in League 2 with all of the teams in here. I'm controlling Stevenage. Let's see who wins. Also, did you manage to guess Grimsby Town's only icon? It's Puskas. Puskas is the only player to have his prime in the 1950s. So he's on a team on his own in Grimsby. So Stevenage almost gets knocked out of the cup immediately. Also, for this simulation, every trophy counts the same. That means winning the Champions League and winning the Papa John's trophy both count as one trophy. Here we are. We're about halfway through the league season. Let's see where we're at. Okay, Wimbledon top it. Wow, that's interesting. One loss. Wimbledon are the 2010s team. They're topping it. Crew Alexandra are in second. They're the 70s team who only have like 4 icons. Barrow are third. They're the 1960s team. Leighton Orange are fourth. They're the 90s team. Stevenage are fifth. They are the 2000s team. Colchester 6th. Stockport 7th. Rochdale 8th. Who are the 80s team. That's more or less a full team of icons. Getting beaten out by 2 League 2 clubs. That's madness. And all the way down the table, Grimsby are in 17th. Poor Puskas. He might be stuck in League 2 for this entire sim, but what am I supposed to do? The game is a game. So at the moment, it's looking like Wimbledon are going up, but you never know. In the FA Cup, Stevenage drew Wimbledon. Oh, that's so unfortunate. I'm hoping one of our icon teams wins the FA Cup and then gets into Europe. Rochdale are still in the FA Cup. They have Coventry, and Leighton Orient have Accrington Stanley. Barrow also have Burton, so we're still pretty good. Oh, and in the Carabao Cup, we have Wimbledon and Leighton Orient, both with a chance to make the final. Wimbledon beat Stevenage as well. That's fascinating. That's the 2010s beating the 2000s in one game. Let's see how it goes over 5 years, though. I picked some of the clubs on purpose, like Grimsby being in the 50s because, well, all the pitches were really grim. It's a bit of a reach. Wimbledon in the 2010s because they're a really new club. They're the only correlations I really have. I kind of just picked the other ones at random. I just got fired. Okay, it doesn't matter. Really, I shouldn't have controlled the club. Oh, I can pick Grimsby. Yes. That's really lucky. It was the only option I had. Okay, we're here. It's the start of May. Who won trophies and who's going up? At the top of League 2. Oh, Wimbledon, Stevenage. Really close. Okay, Stevenage do have a game in hand, which if they win, they go clear. Leighton Orient also in third. They're the 3 automatic promotion places, but Barrow right beside Leighton Orient as well. They could nick it too. Yeah, so we have 7 different icon teams, and the top 6 parts of the table are all 6 icon teams, and then Grimsby's down in 20th. Sorry, Puskas. Also, whoever wins the playoffs also get another trophy. That does count. But let's look at the Carabao Cup. Who's going to get into the Conference League next year? Wimbledon! Okay, Wimbledon are in the Conference League next year. They had Orient in the final and they won. Okay, so they both won their semi-finals. Okay, so Wimbledon are in Europe next season. They're in the Conference League, which if they win, they get to the Europa League, which if they win, they get to the Champions League. They could really do this. Also, in the final of the FA Cup, we have Leighton Orient versus Nottingham Forest, which means Leighton Orient could go straight to the Europa League, just like that. This is competitive. competitive. Oh my goodness. I think everyone's going to win a trophy. Crew Alexandra wins the Papa John's trophy. So they also have a trophy on penalties. Oh my god, they beat Barrow on penalties. Here we go. We're here at the end of June. All tournaments are finished. At the top of League 2, we have Stevenage. Stevenage nicked it off Wimbledon. They get a trophy now. So that's one trophy for Wimbledon, one for Crew Alexandra, and one for Stevenage. Leyton Orient as well get a trophy. They won the FA Cup, so they are now in the Europa League. Barrow won the playoffs. Barrow also get a trophy. Oh my god, this is ridiculous. Everyone's getting trophies. And that's it. This is going to be really fun. This is really tight. Okay. And here's the tally. Every single club has exactly one trophy, apart from Rochdale and Grimsby Town. It's a great start. Everything's still really close. I thought one club was going to get like 5, but so much for that. It might actually be a good idea to not get promoted this year because, to be honest, Crew Alexandra are more or less guaranteed a trophy because they're the only strong icon team left. There is Rochdale, but they haven't won anything yet. As you can see in the Conference League, AFC Wimbledon are there. Hopefully they win another trophy for their sake. But one step ahead in the Europa League, Leyton Orient. Can they win? Get straight to the Champions League. The bad thing about them being in the Europa League is that, well, they can't win the Conference League. They miss out on a trophy there. Now we're in January. Let's have a look at the results. None of our teams made the semi-final of the Carabao Cup. That's another trophy that they missed out on. And in the Europa League, Leyton Orient topped their group without losing a game. They're through to the knockout stages. And Wimbledon just about get through their Conference League group. It's good enough, I suppose. In League 1, Leyton Orient are making headway at the top of the league. Stevenage and Wimbledon right behind them with Barrow. One of them is going to remain in League 1 next season. Who's it going to be? And it might be a good idea to stay in League 1 just to maybe have a shot at winning the title. Up the top of League 2, it's Rochdale. Crew Alexandra right behind them and Grimsby floundering in 17th. If they win a single trophy in this entire experiment, I'd be very surprised. FA Cup final is Manchester United versus Tottenham Hotspur. None of our teams make it. Orient get to the semi-final and lose. And in the Carabao Cup, Liverpool win. Again, none of our teams made it to the Carabao Cup. Leyton Orient win the Papa John's trophy though, so that counts as another trophy for them. And Leyton Orient are in the semi-finals of the Europa League. And in the Conference League, Wimbledon are 3-0 up. Oh my goodness, they're smashing it. They could have Barcelona or Napoli in the final. Wow. In League 1, Stevenage are looking good, but Orient are 2 points behind with 2 games in hand, so they could overtake them. Wimbledon and Barrow do not have a shot at the title, but they could go up through the playoffs, which would of course give them another trophy. Okay, let's sim to the end of the year now. Who's going to win trophies? This is really interesting. We have 2 European semi-finalists. Can either of them win a trophy? If Leyton Orient do, the 1990s team, then they're in the Champions League next year. And if Wimbledon do, the 2010s team, they're in the Europa League next year. Topping League 2 is Rochdale. They've won the League 2. They get their first trophy. Crew Alexandra get promoted alongside them with no silverware. Liverpool win the Champions League, but we don't care. Europa League. Inter! No! Leyton Orient lost the final. They lost to Inter. Oh, that's heartbreaking. Okay, yes! Wimbledon, the 2010 team, won the Conference League. They beat Barcelona in the final. How the hell did Barcelona end up in the Conference League? I don't know. Anyway, Wimbledon make it to the Europa League. But more importantly, they get another trophy. But who wins the title in League 1? Who wins the title in League 1? It's Leyton Orient. They win the title. They get promoted. They get another trophy. That's 3 for the 1990s team. And Stevenage, the strong 2000s team, down in 4th. I mean, they could win the playoffs and get another trophy. We'll have to check that. But they have to play against Wimbledon, who are in the Europa League next year. Barrow are unfortunate getting promoted with no silverware. So next season, we only have one team in European competition, and that's AFC Wimbledon in the Europa League. Everyone else isn't in there. They haven't won domestic cups. They got to suffer while Wimbledon could clean up. First thing to check, who won the League 1 playoffs? Stevenage. Stevenage won the League 1 playoffs, so Stevenage get another trophy. And at the end of season 2, the trophy tally looks like this. Leyton Orient top it with 3 trophies. Stevenage and Wimbledon both have 2. I wonder, can anyone get double-digit trophy tallies? Anyone do a treble? Quadruple, something like that. I don't know. One thing that I forgot to mention is because Barrow, Leyton Orient, and Stevenage are in the championship now, they can't play in the Papa John's trophy, which of course counts as another trophy. So maybe it is meta to just wait behind a year and just scoop up all the trophies behind. I don't really know. I suppose we'll find out. Grimsby are once again in 23rd. I don't really know why I'm pointing this out anymore. They're just not going to win anything. Stevenage made it to the semi-final of the Carabao Cup, so they could win something, and they have Luton Town, which isn't the toughest draw. Okay, Wimbledon are in the Europa League. Did they win their group? They did. League 1 looks like this with Rochdale topping of all teams, Wimbledon 2nd and Crew Alexandra 3rd. Wimbledon in the unlucky limbo position between winning the title and winning the playoffs, but they could still push on or drop off. And in the championship, Leyton Orient top it, Stevenage 2nd and Barrow 3rd. Barrow aren't that good, I just want to point out. They don't have a full team of icons. Public service announcement, Grimsby are now bottom of League 2. In the FA Cup, any teams get far? Wimbledon and Orient. Oh, they could have each other in the final. That's the 2010s team versus the 1990s team. And in the Carabao Cup, Stevenage won it. They actually won it. Okay, Stevenage qualify for the Conference League. Okay, we have another team in Europe. The Papa John's Trophy. Preston versus Crewe. Crewe could do it again. Wimbledon are in the quarterfinals of the Europa League as well. They have Lyon to play. They could do the Conference League to Champions League run. So in League 1, the 2010s team is leading the way with the 1918s team right on their tails. The 1970s team, Crewe Alexandra, are in third place and nowhere near. It's a two-way dogfight for the title. Whoever wins gets another trophy, but whoever doesn't gonna get promoted, but no trophy. And in the Championship, Leyton Orient are smashing it. Oh my goodness, 12 points clear with a game in hand. I think they're going up to the Premier League with a trophy. Barrow also look pretty secure in third. I bet they'll win the playoffs. I got fired. Whatever. 2 more months down the line. Let's see what's changed. Oh, final of the FA Cup. We have the 2010s team versus the 1990s team. Oh, that's brilliant. Which decade is better, 2010s or the 1990s? And Crewe Alexandra did win the Papa John's Trophy. That's another trophy for them. And Wimbledon made it to the semi-finals of the Europa League. They have Club Brugge, which doesn't seem like that bad of a tie, to be honest. They could win this tournament. But in the other leagues, it's neck and neck between Rochdale and Wimbledon once again. They are right on each other's tails. Either of them could win the title. I cannot call it. But in the Championship, Leyton Orient have won the title convincingly. 116 points, 2 losses, breaking records everywhere they go. There's still 2 games to go, but it doesn't matter. Leyton Orient win the Championship. Stevenage are also guaranteed second place, which means they don't win a trophy from the Championship this year, but they did win the Carabao Cup, so they are in Europe. How are Derby doing? Oh my god. We're about to get the answer. Who's going to win League 1? Can Wimbledon get into the Champions League by winning the Europa League? Can Grimsby get off the bottom of the table? Let's find out. And Wimbledon did it. They won the FA Cup. Wimbledon 2, Leyton Orient 0. They're now in the Europa League next season. Unless, of course, they win it this year. They did! They did! They won the Europa League! Oh my god. They beat Villarreal. They're in the Champions League next year. Just like that. Does that mean Leyton Orient get into the Europa League next year because they lost the final? Elsewhere, here we go. We're in League 1. Wimbledon win League 1. They did a treble this year. Europa League, FA Cup, and League 1. The weirdest treble ever. They win on goal difference over Rochdale. It's enough. They get another trophy. Crewe Alexandra, they could also win a trophy from the playoffs. The Championship, it's Leyton Orient. Crewe Alexandra are still in League 1. They didn't win the playoffs, but Barrow did. Okay, so Barrow get a trophy for winning the playoffs. Crewe Alexandra don't. They were in the League 1 playoffs, and they lost. As a result, the tally looks like this after 3 seasons. Wimbledon did the treble last year. They're on 5 trophies. Leyton Orient are on 4. Stevenage on 3. Barrow and Crewe Alexandra both on 2. Rochdale have a solitary trophy. And Grimsby still have none. We now have teams in the Premier League though, so qualification for European tournaments is going to be a lot easier. Grimsby are in 10th in League 2. Hold on. They could actually go up maybe. In the Carabao Cup, it's Stevenage versus Barrow. Okay, so one of them are going to end up in the final. And Wimbledon win the Super Cup over PSG. Oh my god. It's another trophy for them. Wow. Okay, Wimbledon go 6 wins in their group, flawless over Dortmund, Bruges, and Malmo, and they drew Leipzig in the round of 16, which isn't a bad tie. Okay, they could really do this. Wolves are in the round of 16 as well. How did that happen? Into League 1, and Crewe Alexandra, the 70s team, are not top. Blackpool are top. Just normal Blackpool. They have no extra players. And in the Championship, Rochdale aren't top. Fulham are. For some reason, this makes no sense. Wimbledon are also 6th. And in the Premier League, Leyton Orient are 4th, but Stevenage are 6th. And Barrow are 19th. Oh my god. What's going on? How are these teams not winning? Not looking great for trophies this year, to be honest. But Wimbledon did win the Super Cup, so we'll give them that. Oh my god, this Morecambe team is terrible. We're bottom of the table, by the way. I'm a terrible manager. Here we are, round 5 of the FA Cup. Barrow are still in there, so are Accrington Stanley, who have no new players. Leyton Orient are still there, Rochdale, Stevenage. Okay, so there's still a good chance that someone wins the FA Cup. Carabao Cup, Stevenage versus Man United. Ooh, I like that. None of our teams made it to the Papa John's Trophy semi-finals. And in the Champions League, Wimbledon are 3-1 up against Leipzig. Oh my god, they are really good. And there's Stevenage in the Conference League round of 16 against Aberdeen. With regards to the leagues though, Blackpool are still top, but Crewe Alexandra are 1 point behind with 2 games in hand, so if they win those, they'll go top, which they probably will. In the Championship, Fulham are still top and are kind of looking like they're going to win the league. Rochdale are in 2nd and AFC Wimbledon are in 5th, even though they're in the Champions League round of 16 and are 3-1 up against Leipzig. I have no idea. Okay, Championship is weird. And in the Premiership, Leyton Orient are 2nd, Stevenage are 6th. They don't qualify for Europe. Where are Barrow? 19th still. Oh dear. Drogba with 9 goals in 7 games in the Champions League. Puskas isn't even the top scorer in League 2, by the way. It's Hendry. Now let's go to May. Who wins the Carabao Cup? Can the two teams get to their European finals? Can Barrow stay up? Or do they want to stay up? Do they want to get relegated and then win silverware in the Championship? It's all about winning. It doesn't matter how much you lose, as long as you just win stuff. Final of the FA Cup. Leyton Orient versus Stevenage. The 90s versus the 2000s. I wonder who's going to win that. And Stevenage won the Carabao Cup. Okay, so if they get knocked out of the Conference League, they're right back in it again next season, which is great for them. Wimbledon are still in the Champions League. Okay, they drew 1-1 with Real Madrid, but the second leg, oh my god. And if they win, they play against PSG or AC Milan, and they already beat PSG in the Super Cup. Of course, if they win the Champions League, they qualify for it again next season. In the Conference League, Stevenage are in it, but they're down on aggregate to Villarreal. Not a bad team. They were in the Europa League last year, and now they're in the Conference League. Oh my god. The title's out of reach. Blackpool have won the title. I mean, not literally, because Crew Alexandra could technically still win it on goal difference, but it's basically out of sight. The Blackpool have effectively won the title. That's crazy. How did Crew Alexandra not win the title? And in the Championship, Rochdale. Oh, okay. They're tied on points with Fulham with 2 games to go, so they could still win the title. Wimbledon are in 5th, but they're also in the Champions League semi-final. Cut them some slack, okay? And in the Premier League, Leyton Orient. Oh my god, Chelsea fell off like mad. Stevenage right up there as well. They could also win it, but it's looking like Leyton Orient. They're 4 points clear with a game in hand. Barrow, they're in 15th. They're alive. They're actually alive. Oh my god, they stopped drawing and started winning. They're looking pretty safe. Also, just want to point out Grimsby finished 11th in League 2. We're now at the end of the season. European tournaments, domestic cups, leagues, everything. Okay, we got everything to play for. Leyton Orient win the FA Cup over Stevenage. They're in the Europa League next season, and they get another piece of crucial silverware. And here we go. Champions League. Oh no! No, they got to the final and lost. Oh, that's heartbreaking. That is heartbreaking. They won on penalties against Real, got to the final and lost to AC Milan. Oh, no. No, that's not meant to happen. They ran the whole way from the Conference League to the Champions League final and lost. Oh, I feel so bad. Europa League, Barcelona, nobody cares. Conference League, Stevenage won. Okay, they're in the Europa League next season. So are Leyton Orient. Wimbledon didn't do it. Oh, that's gutting. Now time to look at the leagues. Leyton Orient and Stevenage have already qualified for the Europa League next season, but can they get to the Champions League? First, League 1. Yeah, Crew Alexandra finished 2nd. No silverware for them, but they do get promoted to the Championship. In the Championship, Rochdale did it. Fulham must have lost at some point. And then Wimbledon also are in the playoffs. Let's see if they won the playoffs next season. Leyton Orient did it. They won the Premier League. They get another piece of silverware, and they also qualify straight into the Champions League, as does Stevenage. Barrow, did they survive? They did. 16th. How close were they to relegation? 2 points. But they never went down. Didn't win the Champions League. That's still breaking my heart. Okay, now we're into next season. Let's see who won the playoffs. There they are. Wimbledon won the playoffs. That gives them another trophy. Just want to point out, Wolves are in the Champions League knockout stages 2 years ago, and now they're already in the Championship. FIFA is so dumb. We had 7 teams in this experiment, and now 5 of them are in the Premier League. One of them, Crew Alexandra, are in the Championship, and Grimsby are still in League 2, unfortunately. And the tally is this. You really thought I was going to show you the tally going into the last year. I've got to keep a bit of tension in this, okay? I think I've counted it up right. If I've counted it up wrong, I'm very sorry from the bottom of my heart. I'll put like a paragraph apology on Twitter just for a laugh. Here we are in the Champions League. Stevenage have Leverkusen, Porto, and Rangers. Pretty easy group, I think. And Leyton Orient have Roma, Sevilla, and Victoria Pilsen. I think they'll be okay. Jordan United, no way. We're in the Conference League. Let's go. So this year we have 2 clubs in the Champions League and nobody else in European competition at all. But we do have 5 clubs in the Premier League, which means 4 of them could get Champions League next year and 1 could get Europa League. But this is the last year of the experiment. Qualification doesn't matter. Just win as many trophies as you can this year and see what position you finish. That's about it. Also, at the end of the video, we're going to have a couple of awards for best players and biggest shocks, stuff like that. They'll count as a trophy each. And there's 5 of those, which means there's 5 extra trophies up for grabs, as well as the scores of trophies that have been available up to now. Oh, Grimsby are back down the table. In the Carabao Cup, Leyton Orient make it to the semi-finals. I feel like they're such cup merchants. And in the Champions League, Leyton Orient and Stevenage both make it through. I want to see the Premier League. I want to see Barrow top of the league, obviously, okay? Because they're going to bounce back from last year. They're going to get really strong. They're going to be beasts. Oh my god, Rochdale are top. Wow. So Rochdale, who just got promoted, are now top of the Premier League. The 1980s, right up there. Are Barrow still alive? They are. Oh my god, 17th. That's amazing. Wimbledon are 11th mid-table team, which is surprising considering it's a full team of icons. Leyton Orient are 5th. Stevenage are 3rd. They did did push on a lot at the end of last year. I wonder if they'll do the same again this year. Halfway through the season, it's looking pretty good for trophies. Hopefully they're in the right places. Round 5 of the FA Cup, Stevenage are still in there. Rochdale are too, and Leyton Orient are as well. Rochdale really doing well in this last season. It's Leyton Orient. They get another trophy on the board on penalties against Nottingham Forest in the final, who they should be destroying, by the way. Leyton Orient are 2-0 up. Roma are beating Stevenage, though. Let's have a look at the Premier League once again. Man City top, Liverpool second, Stevenage 8 points off the leaders, Rochdale 10 points off the leaders, Leyton Orient 12 points off the leaders. Don't really think any of them are going to win the league. Well, especially because Man City are so good. What about Barrow? Are they alive? No, they're in 18th. Okay, but they're really close to Brentford, so they could get out. Wimbledon are mid-table. And in the Championship, we do have one team here, don't we? Crew Alexandra are bottom. How are they bottom? Hold on a minute. They sell all their players. I did forget to point this out at the start, but it comes as no surprise that these teams are independent teams and they can kind of do what they want, which means we get things like this, where Bastian Schweinsteiger was bought by Chelsea from AFC Wimbledon. Like, there's nothing I can do about that. Where are their did they sell all of their icons? Where are they? Oh my god. What happened to like Gerd Muller and Socrates? He's a free agent. They didn't renew him. Oh my god. Okay, Socrates went to Juventus. Oh my goodness. They didn't renew Gerd Muller. He's a free agent. Oh my. To lighten the mood though, Grimsby are 23rd in League 2. Puskas is cancelled. I have the trophy tally right here and none of you can see it. It's great. Oh, I got fired. No. Back to Mansfield Town. Well, not back there. I've never been there before. Wow. Okay, here we are at the start of May. Leyton Orient have West Ham United in the final of the FA Cup. That's fascinating. They are really just cup merchants. And in the Champions League, Leyton Orient are still there. They're 3-1 up against PSG in the semi-final. They could actually do this. Unfortunately, Roma beat Stevenage on penalties. And if we look at the Premier League, who is top? It's Rochdale, tied with Leyton Orient, tied with Man City, tied with Chelsea. Oh my god. This is incredible. This looks fake. This looks absolutely fake. Chelsea have 33 games played. Leyton Orient have 34 and Man City Rochdale have 35. So Chelsea are actually in the driver's seat if they win the next 2 games. But if they don't, then it's up for grabs for Leyton Orient. Stevenage only 3 points behind as well with 2 games in hand. They are more than in this. They're in the same situation as Leyton Orient if they win their next game. This is brilliant. Any of the top 6 teams could win. Could be Aston Villa for all we know. This is incredible. Wimbledon are 12th. Nobody cares. And Barrow are 16th. They survive. That's fun. It's about to go down. It is about to go down in the Premier League. I'm going to sim for another week and just see. Oh, wow. What just happened? How did I sim a week and they gained like 15 points? What? Okay, so Stevenage are now top of the Premier League by 6 points. That means they've won the league effectively. This happened in the last video where I went back to FIFA 16 and played up until today. I thought that was just a FIFA 16 bug, but EA. Yeah, Barrow are now bottom and adrift. Maybe if I sim another week, then the Premier League table will reshuffle. Oh my god, it actually did. I didn't expect that to work. This makes no sense. Okay, Chelsea have basically won the title now, but if I sim another week, then it'll probably reshuffle again or whatever. Wimbledon are grand. Barrow are now completely safe. This is horrible. What about Crew? Are they safe? No. Finally, at the end of the season, the last final results for the Premier League are in. Leyton Orient did it. Oh my god, they won the Champions League. They won the Champions League. They beat PSG on aggregate. They beat Atletico Madrid in the final of the Champions League. The 1990s did it. That is amazing. But what about the Premier League? Man City. Man City win the Premier League. Stevenage comes second. Orient 4th. Rochdale 5th. Not good enough to win another trophy. Barrow unfortunately get relegated, but we will never see them again in the Championship because the simulation has finished. It's time to give out some awards. Because I can't look at top scores within specific leagues, I'm going to look at the top scores within the cup competitions and go from there. AFC Wimbledon, Drogba. Barrow had Jarzinho. Crew Alexandra had a random... Why did they do this? That's so silly. Grimsby Town didn't even have Puskas scoring. 2 appearances, no goals. Are you serious? Leyton Orient, Robert Perez, Davor Schuker. Hullet with 4 goals. Yep, that's new top. Stevenage, Samuel Eto'o. That's not enough. Top scorer in the FA Cup this year was Ruud Hullet, which means he's the top scorer of this entire simulation, which he actually was. He was like top scorer or near top scorer for a lot of these seasons. So they got another trophy. The biggest surprise in this whole simulation was probably Wimbledon getting the whole way to the Champions League final. I know Orient won it, but they were flying through the leagues like it was nothing. Wimbledon struggled through the Championship, were an average mid-table Premier League team, and still made the Champions League finals after winning the Conference League and the Europa League. That's probably the biggest surprise of the entire simulation. So I'm going to give them another trophy for that. And the biggest shock, the surprise surprisingly worst thing to happen to any team. Probably Grimsby, I'll be completely honest. They've been very bad. I expected Puskas to carry the team out of the division, to be honest, but he's worth 250 million. That's his valuation on the game anyway. And because the performance was so poor, they're getting a trophy taken away from them. So they're on -1 trophies. Player of the simulation. That's a tough one to really judge. Steven Gerrard's been incredible for AFC Wimbledon, Eusebio, and Eric Cantona for Leyton Orient. And I'm gonna give it to Maldini because he's the best player on the best team. They finished the highest in the Premier League and they also won the Champions League. So Leyton Orient get another honorary trophy. And the last one, the biggest overperformers, and I will be completely honest, Barrow. It's got to be Barrow. This is their team. I mean, they did have a different striker. It wasn't Guedes, it was somebody else. But this team is like really good, but also full of bronzes. Anyone that's not an icon on this team, which is 4 different people, are bronzes. 3 of them are defenders, and they still managed to somehow keep enough clean sheets to go up there. And they survived. I mean, they got relegated this year, but Barrow were an underperforming team that did really, really well, and they get a trophy for it because they deserve it. Now it's time to tally up every single trophy across this entire simulation and figure out who won. Wish me luck. And here we go. The results have been tallied. The jig is up. Who is the winner? Who wins the most trophies and who stakes their claim as the greatest decade in football history? Last place is Grimsby Town. No shockers there. The 1950s get -1 trophies for being so abysmally bad. They had nothing, but I took it off them anyway because they didn't deserve it. Second last place is Crew Alexandra, the 1970s, with 2 trophies. They did okay. I actually think they're both playoff trophies, or maybe one of them's like a cup or something. I don't know. They didn't do great, to be honest. I don't think they won a single league title. Next up is Barrow, the 1960s, with 3 trophies. They were good, not good enough to win more than 3, but also with 3 trophies. And surprisingly, Rochdale, a bit of a weird team in this simulation because they started off very poorly, but I feel like as time went on, they got better and better and better. Maybe if we simulated for another 3 or 4 years, they would be the ultimate team, but they only got 3 trophies, not massive. But now we have the 3 strongest teams in the simulation: the 90s, the 2000s, and the 2010s, which I think most people could have predicted would be the top 3. And third, we have the 2000s with 5 trophies. Stevenage doing okay. I thought they'd do better because that 2000s team is ridiculous. Okay, ridiculous how this team only won 5 trophies in 5 years. You can read the team, you know what it says. It's incredible, but they still lost games and they only won 5 trophies. They got knocked out by Roma in the Champions League somehow, and they got what they deserved, I suppose. There were only 2 teams left: AFC Wimbledon from the 2010s and Leyton Orient from the 1990s. One team has 8 trophies. The other team did it. They got 10, and the winner of the Icon Decade 5-year challenge is somehow Leyton Orient. They did it. They did it. I have no idea how they did it, okay? It was incredible. The last season, they got a treble of a Carabao Cup, an FA Cup, and a Champions League. That was enough. That won them everything. Wimbledon were leading the whole way. They were winning titles and they were winning playoffs to get into the Premier League. They even won the Conference League and the Europa League, but they lost the Champions League final, which could have actually won them the tournament. If they won the Champions League and then won it again, they could have drawn with Leyton Orient and we'd have had to have had a playoff. But no, Leyton Orient do it. They win 10 trophies in 5 years, double digits, averaging 2 trophies a year, which is an incredible rate. What can I say? Apparently, according to FIFA, the best decade of football ever was the 1990s, over the 2000s and the 2010s. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you enjoyed it, then check out this video where I reset the world of football to 2015 and resimulate it to today. What changes, what stays the same, which legacies are made and broken.